What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be examining the leaked panels from chapter 284 of My Hero Academia. This chapter very much has the vibes from that overhaul fight back in season 4, only this time the stakes are even higher because Shigaraki is literally the devil himself. Make sure you sub to the channel as I'll be doing a more detailed breakdown of the official chapter when it comes out later this week. Okay, so thankfully this chapter picks up immediately where the last one left off, with Deku floating in the sky and holding all the heroes with Black Whip in his left arm and then using his right arm to, pull Shigaraki towards him using Black Whip. The panel then zooms out to show us just how high these guys are in the air, and I'm telling you, it's ridiculously high. Like, you could probably do a skydive from this kind of height. If I was someone in this situation like Manual, who just has no flight abilities whatsoever, I would be bricking it. Like, I would be so scared. Thanks to Deku's float quirk though, everyone is maintained in the air, no one's falling back to earth just yet, and we get this line from Shigaraki in which he says to Deku that if he loves the sky so much, he'll send Deku to heaven alongside Gran Torino after he steals One for All. The disrespect from Shigaraki this whole arc, every week, just takes it to a new level, Midoriya replies saying that he won't let Shigaraki hurt anyone else, and we get a cool flashback sequence in which we see, Deku in the UA gym, and they've assembled a few different students to help him master his new abilities. Specifically, we're talking about Sero, Ochako, and Froppy, and they're like, what do you want us to do exactly? Deku tells them that he's been training with Bakugou, but throughout their exercises, he's never been able to catch Bakugou using Black Whip. This interaction is really important because, like I said, Deku in the last chapter captured Shigaraki using Black Whip. So the fact that back then he wasn't even able to capture, a fellow student in Bakugou, and now he's capturing a devil who defeated all those pro heroes, that's a pretty big improvement. So credit to Sero for helping Deku level up in that way. Interestingly, there's another panel of Deku and Ochako floating together in the gym, and she kind of like shows him how to balance in the air and then use his air force to propel himself forward whilst floating. In this moment, it's clear that Ochako is the one making him float, so it's sort of like practice for the future power that he knows he's going to get, but it's unlikely that she knows anything about float. I guess this moment explains why All Might was so sure that the next power Deku would unlock would be float, because he envisioned that Deku and Ochako would practice together, and then eventually Midoriya would just activate float naturally sometime after that. All Might and Bakugou then sit together and have a pretty chill conversation whilst they watch what's going on, and it appears that Bakugou mentioned something that made me really suspicious. According to the rough translations, All Might made detailed notes on the 5th, 6th, and 7th users of One for All, but for some reason the 4th user, he just crossed it out. Like, he crossed out all the valuable information about that person, about their quirk and their death. Bakugou himself even questions it. He's like, why are you hiding this? Why did you cross off the 4th user of One for All? I have a few thoughts on why this could be, most of which I'm going to save for my official review of this chapter when I see the official translations, but for now what I'll say is that All Might would only cross this out if he's trying to protect Deku and Bakugou. So clearly there's some information there that is just really sensitive and they just can't know what it is. For those that don't know, the 4th is this guy right here, and we know he is the 4th because in a previous chapter we saw him passing One for All to the 5th user, so he is the 4th user. Anyway, moving on from that, according to Nav on Twitter, Bakugou remarks how Deku always thinks about others and how that's just something he personally has never understood, which is why he bullied Midoriya. All Might then says that maybe by helping Deku harness his new quirks like he's been doing, Bakugou is somehow trying to atone for what he's done in the past. If that's true, then that would be some really nice character growth from Bakugou, growing out of his old shell and kind of turning into a true friend and rival to Deku. I think we've gradually been seeing that happen, but for All Might to say it out loud and for Bakugou not to deny it, I think this is a really good sign. The chapter then ends back in the present day with Deku and Shigaraki just coming towards each other at high speed, and Shigaraki's hand is outstretched at this moment and he's ready to steal One for All and decay Deku like he said. However, Midoriya kicks Shigaraki square in the stomach and flies past him. Deku thinks to himself that even though Shigaraki can handle 100%, he's healing slower than before, and he's taking damage even with super regeneration. Midoriya ponders how One for All is the power specifically created to stop All for One, and that he has to destroy All for One right now regardless of what happens to him. This thought process ties into what Bakugou was saying in the flashback about how Deku only cares about, helping other people and doesn't really stop to think about himself. As surprising as it is to say, in these final panels it almost looks like Shigaraki is afraid of Deku, and we see that Midoriya uses his float quirk to maneuver in the air before then flying towards Shigaraki and delivering yet another overhaul style beatdown, and maybe Shigaraki might be unconscious or something. That's a possibility, but for this chapter at least, it looks like the heroes have gotten the win, which is all we can ask for, but yeah, it's not gonna last. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to the channel as I'll be doing a breakdown of the official chapter when that's released. But until then, peace out.